Now we move on to discuss the modern theories of inflation. Okay, this is the fifth theory we are going to learn. Classical theory, neoclassical theory, Keynesian theory, monetarist view of inflation, and the fifth theory which you learn is the modern theories of inflation. Interestingly, you will see in the modern theory of inflation or modern theory of inflation is a synthesis of classical and Keynesian theory of inflation. As a synthesis, because it stresses both on the aggregate demand and aggregate supply. You know, classical theory stresses on the aggregate supply side and or supply factors causing inflation, whereas Keynes say there are demand factors which causes inflation. So they put together all these. In fact, it is not separately causing inflation. There is also these factors together causes inflation. That is known as modern theory of inflation. So the modern approach to inflation follows the theory of price determination. You have seen the price determination, right? How prices are determined in the market? By the intersection of demand and supply, right? So in the similar way, inflation also is caused by intersection both demand and supply, or both demand and supply, aggregate demand and aggregate supply determines the price level. Just like a price is determined in a market, in the economy as a whole, the price level is determined due to aggregate demand and aggregate supply factors causing to their intersection determines the general price level. So I already explained this. That is, the general price level is determined by aggregate demand for and aggregate supply of goods and services, and the variations in the aggregate price level is caused by the shift in aggregate demand and aggregate supply curve. Okay, so we have also seen the micro level now. Aggregate price increases whenever demand increases, price decreases when supply decreases. So that is why it is said variations macro level also it is applied. Variations in the aggregate price level or general price is caused by the shift in aggregate demand and shift in aggregate supply curves. So the modern theory of inflation is in fact a synthesis of classical and Keynesian theory of inflation. It is a synthesis of classical and Keynesian theory of inflation. Fusion. Now, the modern analysis of inflation shows that inflation is caused by one or both of demand side and supply side factors. So why it is known as a synthesis of classical and Keynesian theory of inflation? Because this modern theory, modern analysis of inflation shows that inflation can be caused by either one demand side factors or supply side factors, or both factors can play, both the demand and supply side factors can play an important role in the inflation. So the factors which operate on the demand side are called demand pull factors, and these operating on that, those operating on not these, and those operating on the supply side is known as cost push factors. Okay, those operating on the supply side are called as cost push factors. So there are demand side factors which are known as demand pull factors. There are the factors operating on the supply side, these are known as cost push factors. So accordingly, there are two kinds of inflation. Which are they? The demand pull inflation, the cost push inflation. Okay, so this is the introduction to the modern theory of inflation. So we are going to see the demand pull inflation and also the cost push inflation in the next class. Okay, so wind up here. It's very simple to understand, so I hope you don't have any problem in understanding this.